There is greatness in you. You are full of potentials, and you can, help bring that change you want to see in your life and impact your world. And not only just for yourself. As you're able to transform your life, you are going to impact other people's life. That is how we change the world. We can't sit down and wait for that change to come. We can't just sit down and pray and expect God to do the magic. It is not going to happen that way. And we have sat on that chair of expecting God to do everything for us for so long that I believe that by now, if we really want to tell ourselves the truth, by now we are realizing that it is no longer working. For how long? I'm not telling you to go and change the whole Africa. I'm not telling you to go and change the whole world. I'm telling you to change just one person. Do you know who that person is? The person you see in the mirror when you wake up in the morning. If you can change that person, you can change the world, because it always starts with one person. That is the kingdom mindset. Grace is sufficient for you. Look within you. You can't find solution by looking into the very thing that created the chaos for you. And there's no way you can heal staying in a circle that caused you hurt. For you to heal, you have to step out from that environment that caused you that hurt. When God calls you, He qualifies you. You don't need to be perfect before you start to inspire other people. Let people be inspired, watching how you deal with your imperfection. Hi, you're welcome to my channel. My name is Augustina Ekwunife. If this is your first time of tuning in, you are highly welcome. But if this is not your first time, I appreciate you for being of great support to me on this platform. I'm reading from my book, Time to Rediscover Our History. And the subtitle says, Break the Chains. I don't know if you can see it very well. There was this guy that was being murdered by the police, George Floyd. I'm sure most of you knows about the story. So watching the whole program being aired on the social media platforms, and I felt so bad, but at the same time I realized that feeling bad is not enough. Sometimes when we see things that are going on in the world around us, we are not happy about those things because they are not impacting our world positively. They are like robbing us of something. Like you feel you are being robbed. You are being robbed of your future and also your present, because before you can talk of your future, you have to talk of your present. So most times, if you are like me, there are certain things that I see happening in the world, and I feel like, feeling hurt is human, feeling angry or being angered is human. They are all normal. But I don't believe that it is just enough to feel bad or to, stay in that place of hurt or being angry. I believe that we need to do something. So this was how I felt on that day, or even throughout the week, watching the whole thing going on the television, following the story, following the process concerning his death, and seeing how the whole case was being treated. And I felt so bad. And throughout the week, I was like reflecting over my own life as a Black woman in a foreign country, and I was angered. I was angered to do something, and the only way I felt I could be able to share my own opinion or voice out my pains or my anger was through writing. So I decided to write this book, and I titled it Time to Rediscover Our History. Time for us to break the chains, in remembrance of George Floyd, but also in remembrance of all the black people murdered in the hands of the police or in the hands of those that are, that are supposed to protect them. And not only those black people who has, died in this, who has died in such a horrible way, but what of those that are alive still suffering in the hands of those that are meant to protect them just because of the color of their skin. Most of us right now that are in foreign countries, we are experiencing all, sorry for the background noise, was the ambulance passing. As I said, I'm still here in Bologna, and I am filming from my hotel room. As I was saying, I believe that we can contribute in a positive way to bring the positive change that we want to see in our world. I personally believe that each and every one of us can make a great change in the world by simply using our platforms, using our gifts and our talents. As I can write, there are those who can sing, there are those who can film, there are those who can paint. Use every act that God has blessed you with to, do something. We can do something. Being angry is okay, but it is not enough. Feeling hurt is okay, it's human, but it is not enough, and it can never be productive if we don't channel those emotions, towards doing something positive to bring the change that we really want to see. Just as Mother Teresa Calcutta, or I think it was, well, I don't know who said it, Mother Teresa or Mahatma Gandhi, but I love that saying, be the change you want to see in the world. And if you really want to do something, you will find a way to do it. I don't believe in excuses. There are so many ways we can help in our little contribution to bring the positive change we want to see in the world. And my contribution to my own contribution to creating the world that I want to see is through my writings, and that is why I really come up with this particular book, because I really want those that are going to be able to read this book to have a change of mindset. When you want to change the world, you change the people. It is the people that will bring the positive change that we want to see in the world, and there's no way we can change the world when we don't change our mindset, okay, the way we do things. So I aim at helping people to change their mindset, change the way they think, because when you change the way you think, the way you act must change. And when you change from negative thinking to positive thinking, those negative actions will automatically change from negative to positive. One person at a time, one book at a time. You see, we create a chain reaction, which automatically is going to bring a positive change in our world. And I believe that is what me and you, all of us, that is what we desire. If we can't do it for ourselves, at least let us do it for our children, who are the next generation to come, the future generation. So that is why I come up with this book. So I want to read from this book, just few pages, but if you look below this video in the description, you will see the link to get to where to get the book on Amazon, or also you can check it out on my website. And the chapter number 1 says break the chains, and chapter 2 says we've got the potentials. We can break the chains. Slavery has evolved. So the worst slavery is the mental slavery. The worst slavery is not being able to free yourself, because mental slavery, no one is going to free you, right? Only you can free yourself. So that is why I wrote the chapter 1 saying break the chains. You have to break the chains of mental control. right? You have to break the chains of being influenced negatively to live the life that you don't want for yourself, or that chain of feeling incapacitated. We want to move forward, but something is pulling you backwards. You have these invisible enemies or invisible forces that are like pushing you backwards. How can you fight an enemy you don't see with your physical eyes, right? First of all, you have to understand that this enemy exists, because if you don't understand that they exist, then there's no way you can even start looking for how to fight to set yourself free. In this book, I shared my thoughts on how to free your how to break the chain, because the chain is not a physical chain. The chain is a mental chain, is a spiritual chain, and it is more powerful than the physical chain. So there's no excuse for you not living the life that you really desire. There's no excuse for you not really bringing yourself to that place where you start working on your life to reinvent your whole life, to reinvent yourself, and to help you go to that next level. I wrote this book because I want each and every one of us, especially the people of color, I want anyone that is able to grab this book, okay, that is able to read this book, to own their future. I want you to have the tools to help you own your future, because your future is in your hands and your future starts now. And I believe that hopefully you are going to read this book, because the things that I shared here, they are going to help you. They are going to give you the tools, because it is easier to make excuses, but we can never produce any positive results from excuses. And the more excuses we make, the more we slump down that pit or that valley of poverty, of not breaking that chain of poverty, of mental slavery. And I believe in the future generation, but we have to give them the tools. We have to give them the direction, right? We know how hard it was for us coming from, the third world to be here. We know how hard it is for us fighting through the day, being classified as the third class, right? So we have to do something to bring that positive change, and this is one of my contributions. I really hope that someone read this book, and that the book will change that person's perspective over his or her existence, over life in general, because you have the power and you can bring that positive change that you really want to see in your life. It is possible, and you don't have to wait for others to do that for you. You don't have to wait until you have all the support that you need. You don't have to wait until you have all the resources you need. Just start with what you have right where you are. Most of my friends that migrated from Italy to the UK or to America, sometimes when I speak with them, they will ask me, what are you still doing in Italy? The things you do, like filming or writing books, if you are to be in an English speaking country, it will help take you to the next level. But I believe that there is a purpose for me being in Italy. There is a reason why I am here in Italy. It is not a mistake, and I don't have to be rushed to do the things that other people are doing. I believe that the moment I outgrown my stay in Italy, God is going to lead me to where He wants me to go. But not until that time. I am not going to allow people to influence me, okay, people's judgment to influence my own judgment or to blow my own judgment. So you really need to discover who you are and understand what you want for you. Who do you want to be, and what do you want to do with your life? So immediately you are able to identify all these things. Don't worry. Where you are is not as important as discovering who you are, and not having the support that you need is not as important as believing in yourself first. When you believe in yourself and you start taking action, the support will come. Your destiny helpers will come, but they are not going to show up until you show up first. So how are you showing up in the world? Are you showing up from scarcity mentality? Because the world is we are living in an abundant world. Because I believe God is the universe and universe is God, because everything in this universe comes out of God. So when I say the universe, I mean God. And when I say God, I mean the entire universe. So when you step out, when you start showing up, the universe will conspire in your own favor. So how are you showing up? Are you showing up with a scarcity mentality? Are you showing up with a poverty mentality? Are you showing up with excuse mentality? I can't do that. I can't do this. I am not enough. I am not qualified. When God calls you, He qualifies you. You don't need to be perfect before you start to inspire other people. Let people be inspired, watching how you deal with your imperfection. This is what I believe in. And this is one of the things that, encourages me to do what I do on a daily basis. As I'm bringing these videos, as I'm bringing all these, values to you through my writings, through the videos, through every other platforms on the social media, I am doing it not because I am perfect. Okay? I am doing it so that when you look at me, when you look at my imperfection, you say, okay, if she can do it, then I can. I want to motivate you. I want to inspire you to sit up from that your comfort zone. This book is all about angering you to action. This book is about, pushing you to take that uncomfortable actions that will bring the positive transformation that you want to see in your life. Sometimes they call me a motivational speaker. Yes, but I want to be a transformational speaker, because what does the motivation does? It does not last. It does not last. And just like Shane, you are tied to it. You are tied to it. You will come back every day for it. I don't want those who give me fish. I want someone that will teach me how to fish, so that when I am hungry the next day, I don't have to go back begging for fish. Teach me how to fish. Show me how to throw the net, so that I can start doing it for myself. This is what this book is all about. It will break that chain of dependency. It will break that chain of, always depending on others, making excuses when they are not showing up for you. How are you showing up yourself? When you show up, when you be the first to show up, the universe will conspire in your favor, and will bring all the support system that you will ever need. But first of all, it has to start with you. I want you to break that chain of always making excuses, always pointing fingers, always expecting others to help you. First of all, show up. You are waiting for God to show up in your life. So how are you showing up? How are you showing up to the universe? How are you, telling God that you are ready? Sometimes we pray, we wait for God to answer our prayers. We want God to change our life. We desire with all our heart to see a positive change in our life. But the bitter truth that most people, including probably you that is watching this video, are not willing to swallow. And what is that bitter pill? God will never move until you move. And this is one of those bitter pills that most people are not willing to swallow, probably including you watching this video. But this is what this book is all about, to help you swallow that bitter truth, because that is the only way you can break that chain. That is the only way you can take charge of your life, because your life is in your hand, your future is in your hand. No one can do that for you. No one. No one. Because as I said, and that takes me to the title, because I'm just reading table of contents. The first one is break the chains. The second chapter 2 on the table of contents in this book says, we've got the power. We've got the power. You are loaded with potentials. There is greatness in you. This book is more than a motivational book for you. This book is going to transform your life if you can read it, with all your heart, and if you can read it with open mind. We've got the potentials. What are we lacking? What is it? When you look yourself in the mirror, ask yourself, what is that I am lacking to, that I need to help me transform my life? And you start working on those things. Is it education? Thank God in this our modern world, education is almost free of charge, because you can get self-education. It is possible to self-educate yourself, because there is no excuse for not getting all the knowledge that you need. And most of this knowledge is out there free of charge. You can get them on the net. So chapter 2 of this book encourages you to discover your potentials, to understand that you are loaded with potentials and there is greatness in you. If you are watching this video today, I want you to know that there is greatness in you, and there is no excuse in this whole world that you can give to justify the fact that you are not living out your full potential. Miles Monroe said that the richest place in the world is the graveyard. The most richest place in the whole universe, in the whole world, is the graveyard, because people carry their books unwritten to the graveyard. People carry their poems unwritten to the graveyard. People carry their paintings. People carry their songs to the graveyard. Dreams unbettered to the graveyard. You see why the graveyard to Miles Monroe is the wealthiest place in the world. Don't let that happen to you. You are loaded with potentials. I was angered to action. I want you to be angered to action. I want you to take those uncomfortable actions. Don't always do things that you are comfortable with. Don't always sit in that comfort zone. I want you to challenge yourself. This is why I'm filming this video, and this is why I'm sharing this book with you, to make you uncomfortable, so that you can sit up on that your comfort zone, so that you can challenge yourself to do more. And if you are already on the road to working on yourself, to reinvent yourself, I congratulate you. Don't you ever give up on yourself. Keep moving forward. You will get to that place when you look back, you won't believe how far you've gone. So making excuses will only keep you stuck in that place of living a mediocre life, living a life of average. God did not create me and you to live a life of average, and we don't have any excuse to give for living a life of average, for living a mediocre life. God's intention for us is to live, God's heart desire for us is to live life and to live it amazingly, right? So the chapter 3 of this book says, we forgot too soon. We forgot too soon. There are so many things that happen to us, just like children. When something happens to them, after a while, they forgot about it, they start playing. There are so many things that happens to us that need to teach us a lesson. But the problem with we, especially the black race, is because we forget too soon. There are things you don't need to forget. There are things you don't need to, just wave away. There are lessons that life has taught you that you need to, pick those lessons and work on yourself to change your life. Nobody is going to change it for you. If you want to go back to school, go back to school. Age is just numbers. There's no age limit. When you want to study, go back to study. If you want to learn how to sing, if you want to learn how to write books, write, you can do that. So there's no excuse. I'm challenging you today through this video to, take charge of your life. And the last chapter is chapter 8, where I really dealt on the problem of religion, because I shared in this book saying that the problem of Africa is religion. Religion has chained so many people here. I was one of the numerous people, millions of people out there in Africa that suffered in the hand of religion. I thank God that I was able to break that chain. You have to break that chain. Time to rediscover our history. If you don't know where you come from, you never know where you're going. It is time for us to rediscover who we are, so that we could be able to define or redefine where we are going. It is time to break that mental invisible chain, the spiritual chain. And this this is just one of the damages that religion caused us in Africa. I will read from chapter 1 of this book, and then I think I have to also let me see. I'll just read one or two things from chapter 1, and one or two things from chapter 2, and probably I may read from chapter 4, which says, "Is this enough?" So the contribution you are making in the world today to bring the positive change you want to see, is that enough? These are the questions you have to ask yourself, and you have to be sincere when you are asking yourself these questions. If you are in the group of people that really want to, impact the world around them in a positive way. So, and then probably I might read from chapter 8, which says the problem of Africa is religion. But first of all, I want to read just a few things from chapter 1. Break the chain. The book is an easy read, it's a fast read. So I read chapter 1. Break the chains. Being angry is okay. Feeling pain is okay. But what is not okay is keeping silent. There's no excuse for not doing your part to individually and collectively ignite change. I want to be the change that I long to see in the world. And I believe that writing is one of the keys to achieve that. We see how people are being maltreated, brutalized, and even murdered by those who are meant to protect them. It's not funny at all. And we can't just keep quiet and pretend all is well. And worst still, it does not concern me, and it's not my business. Because this is what most of us does. It doesn't concern me. As long as it does not hit your own child or your brother or your sister, it does not concern you. But how do you know tomorrow your own child won't be a victim? So you see why it is not good for us to be less concerned, even in the climate crisis we are having today. My children now, if I buy anything like a bottled something or plastic, especially plastic, they don't want to see me buy anything plastic in the house again, like plastic. They don't want to see me buy anything like plastic spoon, plastic fork, all those things, because they are learning. So this is how you create chain reaction. This is how you, encourage people to help and together to bring a positive change. So they start in their own little way by trying to avoid buying things in plastic. Making excuses or saying it does not concern me is not a good mindset. That is not the right approach. It concerns me, it concerns you, it concerns all of us. And it is time we start, waking up from our slumber if we really want to see a positive change, especially in Africa. This is the only few things I want to read from this chapter 1. I want to jump straight to chapter 2. We've got the potentials, which is starting from page 18. Yeah. So we've got the potentials. Let me read just a few things from here. We have the potentials to create new educational paradigms and community economic support systems that help remove people from the conditions of desperation that lead to violence and looting. Capitalism should be challenged to evolve. We have the know-how and the intellectual and spiritual resources to give birth to a new world that promotes more balance and thereby better health for everyone. My goal is to help connect some of this energy so we can help set in motion the groundwork that so many have already begun to lay. This was written by Miss Lauryn Hill. Exactly on that very time that George Floyd was killed, 2nd June 2020. I quoted Miss Lauryn Hill. She's a singer. She's a Black American singer. So I love playing some of her music. I would also love to read something here from page 24. Is this really possible? That, yeah, it's a question I ask. Is this really possible? We still see all this violence and all this, demarcation between the poor and the rich. Is it possible that Africa is still in that condition where they are? Okay, and are still in this condition where we find ourselves today. Is it possible? And what are we doing to bring that change? You see, so that was the question I asked here. Is this really possible? That our aim should be to create a civilization where all are winners. Is it possible to create a civilization where all are winners? It is a sign of a low level of consciousness to have a need to create winners and losers, both individually and collectively. We can do better. When we are operating purely from an ego consciousness, then we get this kind of misery and suffering in the world. The solution is to work on increasing our consciousness level, both individually and collectively. It is fully possible to evolve civilization to such a level we are actually just one decision away, each and every one of us. I quoted Neale de Walch. This is page 4, which says, is this enough? So I'm reading. But the question still remains. I love asking questions. The reason why people are not getting answers is mostly because we don't ask questions. Learn to ask questions and also learn to listen. Because when you ask questions and you listen, surely God or the universe will throw answers to you. So in this book, I asked another question once again. But the question still remains, is this enough? Chapter 4 starts with a question, is this enough? A lot of things has been happening since the death of George Floyd. A lot of manifestation. People are protesting all over the world. And when I go through all the comments I see on social media platform, when I read some comments, it's not something to write home about, especially among the Black community. As people are protesting, there are those on one side that it looks like they are not, really feeling the pains and anger or feeling the hurt. Because to feel pain or anger or to be hurt over seeing what is not going right in the world is normal. But then, is it enough just to feel the pain? Our anger or our hurt or pain need to propel us to, want to act and do something positively, not violence, okay, but work on ourselves on individual level and also collectively, like creating a better school system in Africa. We have every resources that we need to make our world better, to make our country better, to make our place better. The problem is that we are disregarding all these resources, okay? Our government is not doing what they're supposed to do. And we ourselves, we are making excuses. If my government is not helping me, I can get education for myself. I can try to at least better my life by going out there to look for work, to look for job, to get something doing. I started doing that when I was in Africa. My parents couldn't send me to Europe, but I worked on myself until I gathered enough money. I and my husband then, together we left Africa and we came to Europe. We did not wait for the government to help us. And once we were in Europe, we started to work and send money back home to help our younger ones. And today, most of them are living a better life. We have to do something on our individual way and also collectively to bring this positive change you want to see, and also to help the people back home, at least to come up to living a healthy life in a healthy environment. We can create that for ourselves. We can create that for ourselves without waiting or depending on the government. If the government are not willing to do their part, if the government is not willing to do their part or to help the country, we are not all going to fold our hands and die of hunger or die of ignorance or illiteracy. We are not going to go to school. So many people out there are going to school. So many people are hawking bread, hawking granules, banana. I did so when I was growing up. I didn't just wait for the government to help me, or even when my parents couldn't pay for my school fees. I tried to help myself by hawking. I was 13, 14, 15 years old. I was doing every petty job that I'm able to lay my hand to make sure that I paid my school, my school fees. If not, they would throw me out of school. That was how I managed to come through. And coming to Europe, I didn't wait for my parents to pay for my flight ticket or to get me a visa. I'm not encouraging anyone to go to the extreme or to risk their life because they want. But at least when you look around you, there are small things you can do. What we are talking about is owning your future. You have to own your future. Stop waiting for people to do it for you. No one is going to do it. This is what mental slavery is all about. You are chained and you feel it. You feel the forces. You want to move forward, but it's like something is pulling you backward. Something is pushing you backward. And how do you overcome these forces? How do you overcome to take charge of your life? This is why I'm creating these videos on this platform. My greatest desire is to see a positive change, positive transformation in the life of people. And I know that by doing, the only way I can do it is to, be that change. So if you're on this platform and you want to see your life transformed in a positive way, then you are welcome. I just want to create a community of people who are ready, who are action takers, who are not excuse makers, who are not having that mediocre mindset, mentality, poverty mentality. I believe that we can take charge of our life and, bring that positive change that we want to see in the world. The problem of Africa mostly is from religion. Religion caused a lot of damages in Africa because in the past, we have great leaders. Our government has not, our nation or our continent has not always been in this mess. In the past, we have had great leaders. But as I said in the beginning, I wrote in one chapter of this book where I said that we forget too soon. We forgot our warriors, we forgot our leaders, we forgot too soon. And that is why we don't learn from our mistakes, and that is why we are stuck in that mess that we are today. Okay? We have great leaders, and in this chapter, I mentioned most of these great leaders. And we need to take charge of our life by encouraging our children to read. Most people don't read book. We don't read book. We only pray and wait for God to help us. We pray and we expect God to do a miracle. What we understand as miracle is magic, because we expect God to do magic. Okay? When we pray, we say we want God to do miracle, but in our head, what we are believing is not miracle. We are believing for God to do magic. And there's no magic wand. Okay? There's no magic wand out there. Until you move, God is not going to move. Until you show up, you are not going to attract your destiny helpers. You are not going to attract that support that you need. You are not going to bring that positive, transformation or change you want to see in your life. There's no magic. That is why it is important for our children to read and know their history. We have to encourage the youth, the young people of Africa. We have to encourage our children to read books. Let them read their history. These are things that nobody is going to teach them at school, especially those that are living in the foreign countries, in different continents. These are the things that they are not going to teach you. Italian government or the school are not going to teach my children here, the history of Africa. We have to encourage them to read books and watch programs, that educates them on our history. For us to rediscover our history, it has to come from, we investing in education. Our people need to be re-educated. The damage that religion caused in Africa, the only way we can, correct that error or repair some of these damages is through education. We have to encourage the youth to read. I used to hear my grandmothers and my elders say, you never get too old to learn. And I'm adding this one to unlearn. You can learn and unlearn things that are not, what you want, things are not adding value to you. But can you imagine those ones that didn't make it out to tell their stories? 400 years of slavery. The education system in Africa needs to be revolutionized. Our leaders need to do away from colonial education system imposed on us to a system where the African child is taught how to be independent. If our children grow up with the same education system, we will never do away from relying on foreign aid. The African child should know who they really are and what values they possess as Africans. These values need to be instilled in them while in their nurseries. Let's liberate our children from all forms of slavery and also racism, for they are the future generation. They are our future. Teach them how to be independent right at their younger age. Right at their young age. We need to teach our children how to be independent. Stop depending on others. As I said, if you remember what I said in the beginning of this video, where I mentioned, teach me how to fish, teach me how to throw the nets, so that when I am hungry, I don't have to come. I don't have to always come rushing to you to beg for fish. Yeah? This is what we have to do for our children. We have to teach them to be independent so that they don't rely on foreign aids in the future. The education system in all of Africa needs to be revolutionized. They need a revolution. We must stop using curricula we never developed, education system which is not African. Our curriculum should be tailored to suit our cultural heritage and environment. Firstly, as a Black people in this land, we have to understand our culture and the importance of unity amongst ourselves. Secondly, we have to recondition our mindsets towards Black family values, Black consciousness, education, and wealth. I want to read out this quote from Malcolm X once said, "We must understand where we come from, who we were, then it will be easier for us to write a whole new era for Africans." A lot of things we experience in the present day is alien to Black African culture. Black Africans have been victims in their own countries long enough. I say we deserve real freedom, real justice, real free opportunities, and that no man can give to us except ourselves. Malcolm X. Kwame Nkrumah walked the streets of London. The only concern he noticed about the war in Ethiopia was the news dealers using it to sell more papers. Nkrumah was being taught the first hard lessons in the practical reality of power. Africans, free your mind, for the democracy is an illusion. We not knowingly traded our dignity, and yet we still see and feel the need to be free. And I invite you to join the awakening of the Black consciousness. The movement has begun. Thank you. These things and more are the things you're going to learn from this book. It's just a fast read, just short, but it will put fire in you. There is no excuse. Use what you have right where you are and start. Well, the most important thing is that you take action. If I can change my life and bring a positive result, and you change your life and bring positive results, you see, it is no longer one person but two. You see, it's one person at a time. And before you know it, our lifestyle will begin to inspire other people to also want to bring a positive change in their life. And before you know it, it will start from one person to one family, and from one family to 2-3 families, and then to the community, and before you know it, the whole state, and then the whole country and the whole continent. But let's start from somewhere. If not now, when? If not you, who? Thank you for watching so far. God bless you, and I hope that you are gingered today to want to, take charge of your life and stop relying on others or depending on others. You can. You are fully loaded. There is greatness in you. You are full of potentials, and you can, help bring that change you want to see in your life and impact your world. And not only just for yourself. As you're able to transform your life, you are going to impact other people's life. That is how we change the world. We can't sit down and wait for that change to come. We can't just sit down and pray and expect God to do the magic. It is not going to happen that way. And we have sat on that chair of expecting God to do everything for us for so long that I believe that by now, if we really want to tell ourselves the truth, by now we are realizing that it is no longer working. For how long? For how long are we going to sit in that chair of mental slavery? Poverty mindset, always making excuses, not thinking of how to come out from the mess that we are living in. I hope this video puts the fire that you need, the burning that wakes up that burning desire in you to want to transform at least your life. I'm not telling you to go and change the whole Africa. I'm not telling you to go and change the whole world. I'm telling you to change just one person. Do you know who that person is? The person you see in the mirror when you wake up in the morning. If you can change that person, you can change the world, because it always starts with one person. That is the kingdom mindset. It is the kingdom mindset. Listen, Jesus is a son of God, right? He has the power to change the whole world, but he didn't do that. Why? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, why didn't Jesus change the whole world, save the whole world, bring positivity, eliminate all toxic and all bad things in the world so that we will sit and enjoy? Why did he choose only the 12 disciples? Why did he pick only 12? In the kingdom mindset, number is irrelevant. Okay? It always starts with just one person. That's the kingdom mindset. It's a movement. It starts with one person and it keeps going. It keeps going. You transform your life, and somebody watching you, somebody you are motivating, somebody you are inspiring is learning from you as a role model. When we begin to adapt the role model mindset, when we understand that leading is living a life of integrity, that people are watching us and they are learning from other people we are motivating, that people we are inspiring, then we'll be mindful of what we do and how we live, how we conduct our life. Because I believe that if you are following me, if you are watching me, you are, learning something. First of all, you are watching how I'm doing my things, how I'm living my life. And if it is something that you would like for yourself, you start learning from me. And that is how we bring change in our life. That's the kingdom mindset. You do it first. When you do it first, you show others how to do it. I am sharing my good news. I am spreading this good news because Christ helped me to change my mindset. For those of you who are, waiting for God to do everything for you, God will not do everything for you. God will not change your mindset for you if you fail to apply the knowledge to change, the knowledge that will help you to change your mindset. If you fail to unlearn those old stuffs that are keeping you stuck in that place, in that place of living a life of mediocrity, in that place of living a life of barely pushing it, a life of unhappiness, a life of not having time to spend with your children, with your loved ones, a life of not showing love, because there's no way you can show love to the people you love without material things. It is through material things that we share love and we show love to our loved ones. We clothe them, we house them, we put roof over their head, we take care of their health, we help educate them, we pay bills. All these things are coming from material things, coming from money, and you need all these things if you want to take your life and the life of your family to that next level, and also help the people watching you to work on themselves, because now you are showing them how to do it. You are showing them where to get the resources. You are showing them what they need to know, because most times people are stuck in that place of mediocrity, in that place of pain and sufferness and struggles, because they don't know how. They don't know where to get the information. They don't know who to ask. They don't know how. And that is why I'm sharing this. That's why I'm using this platform to, it is true that it's not every information I'm going to just drop raw here. If not, YouTube is not going to, allow me to share the video. I have tried that with Facebook. Sometimes there are kind of video you post on Facebook, they will just block it. And there are some postings or comments or things you write, because that's how the world goes. That's why I said mental slavery. You are the only one that's going to save yourself. You are the only one that's going to set yourself free. You are the only one that can break. You are the only one that's going to break that chain. Nobody. But the system is so strong that nobody is going to help you. That is the bitter reality. But it is not impossible. If you can, if you are willing to see your life transformed, grace is sufficient for you. Look within you. You can't find solution by looking into the very thing that created the chaos for you. And there's no way you can heal staying in a circle that caused you hurt. The hurt that you are carrying today, for you to heal, you have to step out from that environment that caused you that hurt. So, a word is enough for the wise. Thank you for watching so far. God bless you. And go get your copy of this book. The link is below this video. It's on Amazon. It's also on my website. Thank you for watching. Stay on top, and God loves you. Bye.